Welcome everybody to PAPAPRENEUR Show. This is season number 2, and we're keeping our promise of changing the paradigm of fatherhood one interview at a time. This podcast is produced by Family Filmmaker. Good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to PAPAPRENEUR Show. This is episode 2 of our second season. We've been finding ways to make things easier for you guys, whether you speak Spanish or English, depending on your native language. You will find very useful one of our latest videos on our YouTube channel. We are researching on how to make it easier for you and creating subtitles, and not only subtitles, but automated translations from one language to the other. Say you are catching up on PAPAPRENEUR Show Season 2, which is in English, and you don't speak English, you'll find a way to activate automated translations to Spanish so you can enjoy Season 2, same as you enjoyed Season 1, and the other way around too. So I will share with you guys a link on the description below to show you the access to that video. Of course, I need to remind you that this show is completely produced by Family Filmmaker, and Family Filmmaker is our video production company, locally owned, family-oriented, family-based, and we are delighted to serve our two main audiences. We serve families, and we help them tell their stories, and also we help small business owners to tell their stories as well. And we can talk about this a little bit more later. In the meantime, if you have questions, feel free to send us a email to podcast@familyfilmmaker.ca. Now, we're going to start our show by introducing our friend, Mark. So I know a couple of Marks. There are a couple of Marks in our lives as friends. So I need to talk to you today about Mark Johnson. Interestingly enough, his social media handle for Instagram is the Mark Johnson, which I find very interesting. And secondly, I need to tell you that he is a business coach. He runs a company called Success Innovations, and I've known Mark probably, years now. I can say 5 years or maybe more. We gathered up for certain courses that we were taking together, and from that point on, I was delighted to be part of his life. And likewise, we didn't only hang out for that specific course, but I also was his customer at one point, because laser focus coaching, I can still remember the phrases Mark told me. Laser focus coaching makes you take action now. And that's one of the things that businesses sometimes lack of, because not because we don't want to do the thing, but because we find so many details that we want to develop and discover and had everything figured out before starting. So I'm here to tell you that, please, there are ways to start. There are people that you need to contact, and among them we have business coaches. Okay, so before I give the officially the welcome to Mark, I will tell you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Family Filmmaker. It's very easy to find. Also, we are on Facebook, and this podcast will be shared as well 24 hours from now on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram TV, and every podcast platform that exists on the face of the earth, because we want to reach to many places and many homes and many business owners here in Calgary and around the world. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Mark. Mark, how is it going? Welcome to the show.
Hola, mi amigo. ¿Cómo está?
Back to season 1. Español.
I'm doing very well. How are you, my friend?
Very, very good. I have to say, Mark has been a very persistent student of the Spanish language. One of the first gatherings that we had, he was starting with a software that helps you learn Spanish and force you to practice and counts the days and the hours and the lessons. So he was just showing me off air. Do you mind sharing how many days have you been studying Spanish, like very, very, very hard?
Every day for 1,130 days. About
So you must be
5 to
fluent
10
now.
minutes a day.
I should have brought you to season 1 then.
Well, and this is the interesting thing because even though I practice every day, and it ties completely over to your business. When you're trying to do something new, you can learn pieces of it, but to put it all together to become fluent is not that easy. So I can read more than I can speak. I can write sentences, type them more than I can speak. So much like starting your business and getting your business rolling, there's some pieces you're going to be very good at, and some pieces you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I don't do this well. And so while I can greet in Spanish and I can talk about some things in Spanish, I'm not fluent. And ties very well into what we're going to talk about tonight in business and
Absolutely.
being a papapreneur.
Absolutely. Which, by the way, you also are.
Yes, I am.
You've been the founder and the operator and the facilitator of your own business for how long now?
Let's see. This 10, almost 11 years. Yeah.
Wow, time really flies
This
by.
particular, yeah. And prior to this, I was part of the team and we built two really successful, and this is why I'm a business coach. We built really successful businesses in a very competitive oil and gas industry. And we sold them both. We had successful exits from both of them. And when you're looking for a business coach, right, have they ever built a business? They know what it's like to do all the bits and pieces of a business.
Absolutely.
Right. And a lot of business owners were technicians primarily. And by that, I mean, we have a skill set that do certain things. And when I was in the first business, my skill set was around my education, which was environmental science. So my understanding of soils.
Wow.
And from that,
literally deep stuff.
Literally, very. And from that, I developed more about, okay, so I'm going to expand my skills. And it just continued to grow. And my love of coaching came when I was having to start to train new employees to do certain things. And, okay, well, I have to take this skill that I have and transfer it. So how do I do that? Well, then it goes to communication. It goes to documentation of things, right? We were chatting a little bit earlier, and you were saying, "Oh, yeah, I have to figure out how to make this happen." Yeah, I think it was your music, your intro music.
Absolutely, I would really like the music to fade into the actual camera scene. So yes, even though we know the software and we use it every day, there are still things to discover and figure out.
Yeah. And that's with any business. And this is where, because right now I have two business coaches of my own, right? Because I'm continually learning and growing my business as I'm helping other people.
May I catch you there with a sentence that caught my attention? You were talking about business owners starting normally as technicians. So I am curious, are we talking here about, what's the name of this author? Michael Gerber's The E-Myth?
Yes. Yeah, that he comes up, he talks about it very clearly that, and most of us are, right? Whether we're whether we're a teacher, whether we're an accountant, a lawyer, right? And we decide to start our own business, but we only know what we know.
Absolutely.
Right? And for instance, most business owners, we're really good at some stuff and we're not good at other things.
Yeah.
And we also, to Michael Gerber's point, like we all started as technicians, but we don't know what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And as you and I have learned from some of the courses we've taken, we're the biggest bottleneck in our business, right? We, the business owner, the founder, the entrepreneur that starts it,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're the ones that cause most of the problems in our business.
Do you remember the name of the book? Was it The E-Myth Revisited?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
So I'm going to try to post it on the screen because we have a system in which we share with our audience. So right now it's popping on the screen for the ones that are listening to a podcast. I'm sorry about that. I will find another way to paste the link for you guys. But it's Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Revisited. So E as in entrepreneur, correct?
Correct. And I like the way he puts it, though, is that technician, because we're all the technician, whether we're a plumber, whether we're a home builder, right? Whether we're a film documentary person, right? We have a set of skills that we love using, and we want to turn that into a business, right?
Yeah.
And I know we've both heard this, but the definition of an entrepreneur is somebody that will work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week for someone else.
Oh no. That will be me.
Yeah, and we're all that way, right? So,
Yeah.
and I'm going to share, one thing that I heard very recently, and it struck me. When we come up with something in our business that we need to do, but it doesn't matter what it is, or we come up with a new idea, oh, that would be a great addition to what I'm doing. So, Ivan, family filmmaker. Oh, I want to do a podcast web show about papapreneurs and what other dads are doing to build their business. And it's a great idea and it's a great concept. But then Ivan, like I would, like most of us listeners, watchers would, we jump into it and we're going to do it. And I was listening to a podcast with a very successful entrepreneur. And he said, when I come up with a new idea, I don't ask, how am I going to do this? I change those letters and I say, who can I get to do this?
Mm.
And to me, that was a very, very poignant, because it's still how, but who, right? Who can I hire? Whose time can I leverage?
Yes.
And as entrepreneurs, and I know your life, my life, everyone listen to this. The one thing that we don't ever have enough of is time.
Yes, that's a very limited resource.
It is. We can always find more money, right? But time, we only get 24 hours in a day.
Absolutely.
And the one thing, and I'm going to speak from my own experience in this, you can literally work yourself to death. Because I've done it. I was trying to run a cattle ranch. We were building an pipeline integrity company. I had rental properties. I had a baby daughter. And I was trying to do it all myself. And ultimately, I had a heart attack. And we're filming this in the greater Calgary, Alberta area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was middle of summer, July, Stampede Week, Calgary Stampede Week. I spent laying in Foothills Hospital with a heart attack.
Wow. Wow.
Because I was trying to be, as I put it now, I was trying to be Iron Man. I was trying to do it all because I could do it all myself. And that's how the world was at that time. And much like Iron Man, I ended up in a place where I kind of had to rebuild everything.
Yeah.
So that's why when I'm working with entrepreneurs now, a couple of things that I really want to work with them on is, one, getting control of their time, right? Learning that not everything needs to be done by you.
Yeah.
Whether you think you do or not.
Yeah.
And another big one is having systems and processes, right?
Hmm.
And you mentioned Michael Gerber talks about this in his book, but I was into this long before because that's how we built two companies. We developed systems and processes that were ours that made everything we did repeatable, whether you did it or I did it. The results we got were the same. And that's where we want our businesses to be. So it doesn't matter whether you're a bookkeeper or an accountant or a plumber, if you have systems in place, then you become replicatable.
So I think I'm going to take that to jump right on to the next question, which actually leads to the next section of the show, which is
Okay.
agreed systems and systemization. How do you say that in English?
Systemization.
Yes, are key. Now, would you mind sharing with us a typical day of Mark Johnson since early in the morning until you're off the clock?
Sure. So I'm going to share, just give me one sec. First thing I do when I get up in the morning is I do something that most people don't do. I have this glass sitting on my desk and it's full of water.
Okay.
So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is drink that glass of water. I take a little drink right now. That's the first thing I do because most people don't think to hydrate themselves first thing in the morning. So I drink that whole glass of water as soon as I wake up. The next thing I do is and this is the one I'm working in right now. I don't know if you can read that or
Make
not.
today so awesome.
Yeah, it's my gratitude journal.
Nice.
So I get up every morning and I write in my gratitude journal. And then inside of this, I have a few things that I read to myself every day to remind myself. That's the start of my day. And people will say, well, why do you bother doing that? Well, because that starts my day out with gratitude, right? It starts you out with an attitude of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And the day just starts better doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Things start to line up when you start with an attitude like that.
Yes. And then, probably take my little dog out for a walk and a couple other things. And then this is key, because even though we're doing this live on Facebook and we're going to be on YouTube and Insta and every place else, I have what I call a buffer block from 8 till 9 in the morning. That's where I answer emails. That is where I check my social media feeds, messages, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where I this is the business that happened last night as I was sleeping, things I need to look after. And then it gives me a fresh start at 9 o'clock. I'm not worried about, did somebody leave me a voicemail? Do I have an important email? Those things are taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can get into my day.
All right.
What does my day look like? I'm putting a lot of energy around LinkedIn right now. So about 3 days a week, I'm doing a LinkedIn post. So that probably happens in that first half an hour in the morning. Probably by 10 o'clock, I'm on a coaching call with somebody.
Let me interrupt you for a second. For those of you that might not be familiar with what LinkedIn is, it's just another I'm going to call quote unquote social media platform. And the reason I'm saying quote unquote is because instead of being oriented to, oh, look how pretty I am, or look the cutest picture of the kitten that I got from the farm, is oriented to business. So if you're a business owner and you haven't heard about LinkedIn, you must be living under a rock. I'm sorry. Go create your LinkedIn account.
And to that point, Ivan, that is part of my day. I have a creation time. And right now, that time is being dedicated to creating a course for entrepreneurs on LinkedIn, getting that profile up there so that it represents you and your business the way you want it to be. So when other people look at it, they see what you see. And it is client focused rather than some of how LinkedIn used to be. It was almost like your resume.
Yeah.
done in my world. So now we're looking at LinkedIn in a different way, and this is who I am, and this is how I help. This is how I help others to do what I know, right? So back to the technician, I know these things, so now I'm helping others. So I'm working on that course. Looks like first week of October, I'm going to be launching that. So
Right on. So you've heard it in PAPAPRENEUR show. Mark Johnson is launching a course for entrepreneurs, and you can take contact with him. His contact information has been showing on screen for some time now.
okay.
I decided to put facebook.com Mark Johnson Coach, but as we are having this part of the conversation now, it seems to be that LinkedIn is loaded with information that entrepreneurs will appreciate and learn from there. So, Mark, I think we can move a little forward. And
Sure.
this is the part that I told you I was going to ask you about, but I haven't disclosed any of the questions. So I'm going to change some of the graphics here for a little while. And we are starting the rapid fire questions. And this is a
Uh-oh.
new-ish section that we started not too long ago in PAPAPRENEUR show. So, Mark Johnson, are you ready for your rapid fire questions section?
Sure.
All right. Some of these are rather easy and fun. Some of the ones towards the end are a little bit more to reflect upon and whatnot. So let's hit it. Mark Johnson, welcome to Rapid Fire Questions with PAPAPRENEUR Show. And question number 1 is, what are you obsessed about?
What am I obsessed with? I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs who are parents have even more time and even more money so they can do what they want with their families when they want,
Awesome.
not
Solid.
with their business.
Solid answer. Question number 2, what is your happy place?
My happy place is being with my family and our collection of pets and other animals.
You're keeping it short for the rapid fire thing, right? So let's go back to that after we are done with the section. Collection of animals. I think that caught you guys your attention. All right. So next question is, where are you originally from? And the twofold of that question is, what's the farthest you have been from your hometown and why?
So I'm originally from a little town called Kincardine on the shore of Lake Huron in the county of Bruce in Ontario.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've spent about the first half of my life there, the second half of my life here in Alberta. Furthest I've been from my hometown would be Australia. Yeah, I think Australia's further. Yeah. Or Argentina, but Australia is definitely further.
For your previous businesses or just vacation?
Previous business. I actually worked in Australia. Yeah.
Right on. All right. So next question in the rapid fire questions for Mark is, are you married? Do you have kids? Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yes, married 16 years. I have a 12-year-old daughter who she's around here doing something, so I'm out right now. Yeah, we're happy. We love it.
And you must have furry grandkids, right? So you have dogs,
We
cats.
have a dog, 3 cats, 2 horses. I think if the count's correct, 50 chickens now.
Jeez, you're a busy man.
50. Yeah. Oh, and a bunny. Yeah, my daughter's got a bunny too. Yeah.
Wow. So it's a busy household.
Yes.
So next question in the rapid fire question is a funny one. The eternal debate on toilet paper hanging here by the wall. For you, is it over or under?
Over.
No questions asked. All right. Next question. When you're sitting on the table for, dining and whatnot with your wife, do you choose in front of her, on a side, and why?
Beside, that's just the way we've done it. I don't know. I guess since my daughter was born, I guess we used to sit across from each other, but once our daughter was born, we shifted, and yeah.
You know, by far that's the most common questions. The most common answer. I'm sorry. So the fact of kids being able to choose their own places at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a couple more before we finish the rapid fire
Okay.
section for Mark Johnson here at the PAPAPRENEUR show. And this is a very good one. Mark, how do you want to be remembered when you're no longer here?
How do I want to be remembered? Well, interesting question. I want to be remembered as a good father, a good husband. I want people to remember that I want other people to be successful. I want to help other people become successful, and by successful, I see success, and this is again something I've heard, and it just makes so much sense. Look at your life as having three dials. One is daily joy. So we have daily joy in our life.
Mm-hmm.
One is that we have abundant time because we only have so much, but we want it to be abundant. And the third dial being financial, I want to say freedom, but it's not so much freedom. Financial peace is the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
Because if you have, and it doesn't matter how much money you have, if you have financial peace and you have daily joy and you have abundant time, I see that as being success. That those pieces, because then you can do with what you want with your time. And for me, joy in my life comes from my family and from our pets and from helping people. So that's how I see it.
So I was going to ask another one, but I think you already answered it. So I
Oh,
was going to ask for Mark, what is a measurement of success? So basically, if I hear you right, is the successful combination of those three things.
those three things, yeah. Daily joy, abundant time, and financial peace.
Not fame, not money.
No,
Financial
no.
peace. I think I'm going to think about that phrase, and I'm gonna try to incorporate it instead of financial freedom, because I've heard that so many times, and you know, I think about breaking the links of a chain and whatnot. Like I go all literal on the concept, but anyhow, that was our rapid fire question for
Okay.
Mark Johnson today here at Papapreneur Show. How was it for you?
It was good. It was fun. Made me think a
Yes.
little bit, but yeah.
So we have some comments from the audience. They are giving thumbs up about financial peace. So it's a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Another comment was a family man indeed. I don't know if they were talking about you or me, but I think we can share that value.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, that was my mom. My mom is fan number one of Papapreneur Show since its inception. Yeah, and yeah, Mark. So we've passed the first half of the show. We have a
Okay.
little bit more to go, and I think it's time for us to. We already know where did you come from, where are you standing right now, what's right in front of you, and what takes time and effort during your day, and what takes your passion and all of that. So why don't we take a look to the near future?
Okay.
Would you share with us the present challenges that you see in the near future? Where do you want to grow? Where do you want
Yeah.
to go? And what are you having? I don't know, some unresolved matters before you
So,
hit those.
yeah. Yeah. One of the things that with everything that's happened over the last, I don't know, what's it been, 7 months? Um, so many changes and shifts, and I don't like the term, so I don't use it, but the people call it the new normal. Well, no, it's not. It's the world has changed. The world's going to continue to change. What I do see is that some of the ways we've done things in the past probably aren't going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And people have started to realize that some things in life are more important than what they were pursuing before.
Yep.
So that said, there's been some shifts. So one of the things where we have done, and this did start before everything, we decided that we're going to homeschool our daughter,
Okay.
or more correctly called unschool, in that we found a school board that we can work with that allows us to more design her education.
Okay.
Things that we find will be more useful, and what we found more useful than the standard education world. So before this all happened, one of the things she became interested in, because we had 2 backyard chickens, to produce fresh eggs. And for if you've never had a fresh egg, like, I mean, it was laid by a chicken today, they have a different flavor. It's a far richer flavor, and just to know where your food comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So she got interested in chickens, and she decided this spring she was going to hatch some eggs to get her baby chicks, which are now living in our backyard and laying eggs alongside the other 2 that we had. So now there's 19 of them in the backyard.
Wow. Are they noisy?
Not really, a little bit, but not really. So, but this is, you ask what challenges. So how do we encourage our children
Mm-hmm.
to follow passions as maybe we weren't, right? Because most of us were, oh, here's the education system, and you follow it through, and you get your university or college degrees, and then you go and you get your job in your corporation, and you move forward. And as an entrepreneur, you always kind of fight that, right? We want to march to our own drummer. We want to follow our own passions. And I think the world, and this is what we've noticed, the world would be a little bit happier if people maybe did follow their own passions a little more.
Yeah.
And so challenges are, how do you run a business and raise children when everything's changing? And as an entrepreneur, for many, many years, I realized that yes, everything does change.
Yeah.
And it's even when you think things aren't going to change, things change. So you just have to learn, and this is, I think, one of the greatest tools that a true entrepreneur has, is we have that ability to adapt, right? We look at it and go, okay, that changed. What do we do now?
Mm.
Right?
So there are some parallelisms between being a father, or a mother for that matter, and
Yes.
the entrepreneurial world.
Yes.
And I believe what I have learned as a father of young children is, first of all, acknowledging what's going on around you. That goes both ways: business, family.
Yes.
And being humble enough to recognize when you are not in the right path, and also defining what the wrong and the right paths are, because what was considered correct 10 years ago might be incorrect now, or not as good. And I believe it does have to do with the fact that we are leaving the information society behind and entering the knowledge society.
Yes.
Because as you mentioned at the beginning, your roots, when you were being raised by your elders, you learned the ins and outs of a cattle farm, right?
Yeah.
And for that, you need routine, you need commitment, you need to do things whether you want or not. And most of those things can be translated into many aspects of life. So how do we grab the knowledge or the information that we had in us and translate it into the current situation? So I believe that's a challenge that many of us have, like, constantly.
Yes, and I agree. And this is, I guess, when I look at it, when you're faced with something, right, how you respond to it rather than react, right? How do I respond to this? And then you ask yourself, okay, do I have the skills that are required to overcome this?
Mm-hmm.
Or can I find someone who can have the skills to overcome this? And this is where building out your network of people becomes so important. So, while I could sit, and you've seen them, and do a Facebook Live video, that's still not as nice a video as you maybe would want to put up on your website or put out to the world on YouTube, or use as a promotional piece in a Facebook ad.
Yeah.
That's where someone with your skill comes into play. Hey, so I would have to ask myself, I need a new promotional video. Who can create a promotional video for me? Oh, I know Justin Brown. He's got this great Primal Video YouTube channel, and he gives all kinds of great tips and tricks. But then I can learn from him, but then I still have to do it. So who do I know that can create that video with me and then turn it into that beautiful piece of work that I would be proud to put out there? Yeah. Oh, Ivan. I know Ivan. Ivan can do this, right? And these are the one of the strengths of an entrepreneur is that ability to question how and who. How can I do it, and who can do it?
Right? So let me try to grab that question by the horns, because when any given small business is at startup level and they haven't looked for funding, they have limited fundings, right? So that principle of having limited funding takes that such business owner to say, well, I will do it myself until I can afford to pay somebody to do it. And I'm still talking about that task that it occurs to me as a business owner that I wanted to get it executed and I don't know how. So I have two choices. I need to learn and implement and execute, or hire out. What happens when fundings are limited?
And that is a good question. So, but you have to ask yourself, and this is where a coach like me comes in. We've all heard that saying, you have to think outside of the box, right? You have to think outside the box. And often the answer you need is outside of that box. That's why they say that. But as an entrepreneur, you have to think about yourself as if you're in a jar, and the answer you're seeking is written on the label on the outside of the jar. But you can't get into the jar to read the message, to read the answer, to read the... And that's where coach comes in, because we can say to you, why are you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? And one of the things that every entrepreneur should be asking themselves, I'll use something that almost every entrepreneur you and I know don't want to do, and that's their bookkeeping.
Oh man, absolutely. Absolutely, like 100%.
Why? Because it's not something we're trained for. It's not something we understand. It's complicated. There's a lot of work. And yet we'll spend our Sunday night trying to do our bookkeeping. Instead of spending it with our family. And yet I know there's bookkeepers, and there's a lot of bookkeepers, and I know some absolutely brilliant bookkeepers that not only can they do your books for you faster and cheaper than you can do them yourself, because you're not going to make mistakes.
Right? When we say cheaper, it's not always in terms of money. It's in terms of how much can a mistake cost you? Say that
Yes.
you I don't know if we can go French here, but say we screw up in a tax filing thing, and it
Hmm.
cost us an a pile of money in taxes that we have to pay
Yes. Or,
because we didn't choose hiring somebody out.
or even worse, the government decides, oh, you messed this up, you owe us this money, and we're going to freeze your bank accounts.
Oh, that will be very, very costly. So, Mark, I think we can allow our audience to pose at least one or two questions since we
Yeah.
got your full attention here and since they are very, very loyal and supportive audience, not only on the live transmission, but also on YouTube and all of the other platforms that I mentioned before. So please use the comment section below to post your question to Mark. Hopefully, we can respond today live. Today is Thursday, the 24th of September. Else, you can see it tomorrow on the replay on the other platforms. So, if you have a specific question that you think is business oriented, this is a perfect time for you to write it down, hit enter, and we will tackle it. We've touched bases on how to balance things. Mark also shared with us how to have a daily routine that is one, effective, two, motivating for yourself, three, not forgetting about your health because there are so
Yeah.
many simple things to do, like just have a glass of water when your day is starting, so you get that engine running, and on the in the back of your mind you're thinking, oh man, I need to keep myself at least hydrated. Let's keep nutrition
Yeah.
for another conversation.
But real quick, I just want to share something because when we're filming this, it's 8:42 p.m. right now, Mountain Time. And here's something that most people don't do. They don't bookend their day.
Yeah.
So what I do at the end of my day, and this is really important, is I start out by writing some successes and wins that I had today.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them I'm going to write down tonight is great Papapreneur show with Ivan.
Yeah. Thanks a
Another,
lot.
and then a couple of things like that. And then I'm going to write some more gratitudes, some
Mm-hmm.
things I'm grateful for that I maybe didn't realize this morning, but I'm grateful for tonight. And then I'm going to write down what actions I took towards one, my big goals and dreams, but two, my happiness. Did I do anything today towards being happier?
Yeah.
And what this does is at the end of your day, by taking some time to reflect and think about it, it shuts down some of that thinking. You know what? I have it, you have it, most of our watchers have it. That brain that just doesn't want to slow down and let us sleep.
Yeah.
So that's another tip that I'm sharing with everybody because if you do that, guess what? You're going to sleep better tonight.
You're closing the day on a positive note. So we do have the question here for Mark. So Lina Acacio is asking. I'm gonna ask it in Spanish for you to practice a little bit. ¿Alguna regla de oro para jóvenes papapreneurs? One golden rule for a young papapreneur.
One golden rule.
One ring to rule them all. Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I thought. But so to me, and this is important, especially to papapreneurs, your business is not your life. Your family is your life. You can always have another business, but you get that one family and you honor that family and honor your time with them and be present with them. Don't sacrifice everything to the business. And I learned this lesson because it almost happened to me. Your business will not show up at your funeral. Your family will. Your family and friends will. So that's why I don't look at so much as a balanced. It's blended.
Yeah.
And family still has to come first.
Absolutely. I I totally concur. So, just to mention one example from last night. So, my wife and I, Tenchi and I, are dividing our week on the days that she is
Hmm.
really focused in her entrepreneurship, and then the other days that I will do so. And when that happens, the other one takes care of the kids.
Hmm.
So that's the kind of flexibility that we've come across as a couple and as a marriage. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't do like blends along the day. But
Hmm.
yesterday was a specific day that I stood working on my computer for like ages, like from 10 a.m. I didn't leave the room. I almost had lunch here. So, just to make the story short, the time that I had with the kids was bedtime story. And instead of reading the stories in bed, I used just the living room because we just like hanging out there. So I went upstairs to meet with my family, and I was loaded with stuff and phone calls that I still need to make, returning calls, follow ups, and whatnot. But I don't know, left my cell phone somewhere, and I went and read that book. And well, the book, if you will, it's just an excuse because I was just sitting right next to them, and I could, you know, smell their little heads and falling completely in love with that moment and with my kids, right?
Yes.
So find a moment that you can actually drop everything else and concentrate and focus on exactly what fills your soul. I think that's something that we all need to keep in mind day in, day out.
Yeah. And that's because of what I work with entrepreneurs on the business, like the systems and processes, but the other's time.
Mm-hmm.
And my coaching program, Time Disaster to Time Master, helps. And you touched on something that's very important. You block time that's just family.
Yeah.
You left your cell phone someplace, right? Cell phone, like your cell phone should never go to bed with you. Too many people do, right?
Yeah.
And one of my clients, he's got three boys that he's homeschooling. And because they're boys, as you know, they can get very energy, like they got to do something.
Yeah.
So the solution, and because he's working from home right now too, the solution was okay, at 12:30, 12 o'clock, go and have lunch with your family.
Mm-hmm.
12:30, take an hour and go play with your boys. Go
Reboot
play a
and
board game.
restart.
Go out, run around, play basketball, do whatever you have to do. And what that does, it does a couple of things. One, he's got time with his family. It breaks up his day, right? So now he's not going, oh gosh, the kids are making so much noise, I can't even think,
Mm-hmm.
to, hey, I got to go outside, I got some exercise, I'm re-energized, I'm rejuvenated for the afternoon. His boys are happy because they got time with dad. And guess what? Your afternoon then flies by.
Yeah.
You get so much done, and then you can end your day and go spend time with your family again and still feel like I accomplished so much today because I did these things. But part of that was taking that time just with the family in the day.
And don't leave your own mind behind. Like bring it with you
Mhm.
and be completely present.
Yes, be there, right?
So
Be with them.
as you see, when we say business coaching, it's not only on the business side of things because you always need to be aware of what surrounds you. And
Mhm.
if you're doing it for the right reasons, I mean, to move you forward, not only as an individual, but as a family, as a group of people, as you know, your entire life project, you need to take these things into consideration.
Yes.
So, Mark, we have like 10 more seconds for a final message. If you want to invite people to your website or any event that you are about to launch, like the course you just mentioned, this is the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So as Ivan put up there, Mark Johnson, uh, coach on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easy to find. I kind of look the same. I don't get any prettier. So you can find me on LinkedIn, reach out, connect with me there. On Facebook, I will be announcing when I'm launching the LinkedIn course. And as always, I have time, as Ivan and I have done with some laser coaching to, it's pretty economical way of getting my help for a year to jumpstart your business and keep it moving forward.
I can definitely attest to that. Actually, if you go to success-innovations with an S at the end, .com, is it .com?
.com, yep.
Success-innovations.com, and you scroll down to the testimonial section, you will see how skinny I was when I was working with Mark years ago. Like, man, I'm gaining some weight. I think it's got to do with the fact that I'm going to get my Canadian passport, because word is on the street, when you get your Canadian passport, they give you 10 extra pounds. There you go. Boom.
Well, now that you mentioned that, Ivan, and I'm going to offer this up to everybody here that listens to this. If you go to success-innovations with an S at the end, .com/clarity, you can book a free 30-minute clarity call with me.
Oh, I'm going to write it down right now. So it's www.success-innovations.com/clarity.
Yep. And you can book a free 30-minute clarity call with me there.
Ooh, so let's bring that up to the screen right now. Okay, computer, don't let me hanging here. Add to broadcast. Hopefully I spell it correctly. Success-innovations.com/clarity. There you go. So with that, we are going to say, Mark, bye-bye, farewell, because this is just the end of our episode. Tonight is September 24th, 2020. We really appreciate your time, Mark. I didn't ask you what time are you shutting down the curtains or the blinds for your day, because I know you're very organized. So hopefully it's not 9 p.m. because otherwise you're gonna turn into pumpkin, like we used to joke here in home with the Cinderella story. But yes, it was a pleasure having you today.
This was so much fun. Thank you.
In our show, please, if you guys know about other entrepreneurs that are also fathers, they could also be moms, because we are all in this together, right? Please talk to them about PAPAPRENEUR show. And we are very, very excited to announce that we just got tickets to a summit that has been going on for long years, but I had no clue about it. And it's a summit for Dads 2.0. Today, I just received my invitation to be part of the bloggers that are attending to the virtual version of 2020 Dad 2.0 Summit. So we are beyond excited, and I can assure you that my next week episode will be loaded with information about this. So the summit is actually October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bring a guest from the summit to next episode, because next episode is going to be on the 1st of October. So we'll make everything that is in our power to do so. In the meantime, we are going to say goodbye and thank you for tuning in. PAPAPRENEUR Show Season 2. Today was episode 2 with Mark Johnson. And we need to remind you that this show is produced entirely by Family Filmmaker, our video production company, locally based with global reach, because we have had interviews from all over the globe, and we are going to continue doing so in the pursuit of our mission, which is changing the paradigm of fatherhood one interview at a time. So that's all for this evening, and please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. After you subscribe, you need to hit the little bell icon. That way you will have notifications activated in your computer or your smartphone, and every time we go on a live transmission, you will receive a notification. So thanks for tuning in, and bye-bye.
Gracias, mi amigo. Hasta luego.
Nos vemos. Bye.
Family Filmmaker.